Hi everybody, Merry Christmas. Hello. It is, what was I gonna say? I can't remember. Good evening, it's evening here. That's why I sit over here by my lady, because I have better light from above. I need to buy one of those lights, some kind of light to help me at night. Anyway, hi. What I want to share, like the crux of what I'd like to share tonight is where we've come the last 2 weeks, but mainly in this idea of grace. Yes. Looking and finding God's grace coming to us each day, one day at a time. As Jesus himself said and told us, it's like, guys, don't take on more than just today. What? So here's where we've been. The last time I talked to you, what I did not mention, and I was like, oh my gosh, one of the biggest things in my life, and I forgot to mention it, was that a few days later, Craig and I were going to be leaving, and we did. We left town. We got in our car, which is a huge deal, to go on the road. That wasn't a medical trip. And we went to Baton Rouge. We got to go to, that's my hometown, and to see Mom and my sister, who we have not seen since Dad died. And I knew I'd be going to my childhood home. We moved into that house when I was halfway through 7th grade. I think we moved at Christmas, and it was so exciting. Pine Ridge Drive, and it's a home that has known, it is so deep and rich with memories, as you can imagine. I was 13. So going there was going to be so bittersweet and hard because Dad wasn't going to be there for the first time. And it was going to remind me that I missed everything, that I wasn't there while he was dying, and then for the funeral. And, you know, I knew I was going to miss him. And anyway, we did it. We went, and it was so beautiful to be with Mom. It was just, we just prayed for and asked for prayer for there to be glorious moments, that it would be like glory, you know, kind of just otherworldly help, because it was going to be really sorrowful for Mom and for us. Just for Mom, because she'd be reliving some things, you know, with Dad dying. And anyway, we had such a lovely, lovely time. So many glory moments. And our just connection was so beautiful, and our relationship bolstered. And and then my sister, Jill, because she works with lots and lots and lots of people, we had to be outside with her. And so she came over one evening after work. We sat outside and got to finally talk some in person about Dad. And then we ended up going to Jill's house because we thought it'll be a good change of scenery and we can be outside. And it just so happened that my other sister and her husband were in town working on a work thing, and they came over, and then my godson ended up coming to pick up his children who were inside, and he came outside, sat on the veranda, and the Christmas music was playing, and Jill had a little Christmas tree, and you know, it was again hard because we were sorrowing, but we also talked about lots of fun stuff, and same with Mom. We just talked about lots of stuff and laughed so much and also cried so much. So, it was hard because this just is a hard time. The holidays without a man we've all had almost our whole lives. I mean, our whole lives, obviously. But Mom met Dad when she was 13. And, you know, so it cuts deeper than it. We just are watching and just can't believe that people live through this. It's so hard for a spouse. Anyway, we had a wonderful, wonderful time, and it was so good for our souls, Craig and me, to leave town, get on the road, see new scenery. I mean, familiar scenery that we've driven tons of times. My gosh, countless. And it's kind of rural and beautiful. And then we Baton Rouge is my hometown, and it's sort of his. I won't explain that right now, but he feels very much like it's a piece of home. And so it was so good for us. We were so grateful how good it was for Mom. It was so good. She needed to see me and us. So that was a huge thing. And Mom is going through deep grief, and she is such a joyful person. I'm so proud of her. And when we have conversations, we had a conversation on the phone a few days ago or yesterday, whatever. And, you know, I'm so encouraged by her because she is always searching for God. You know, she wants to be with him in relationship and to find him coming to her. It just feels so similar to my own year-long, dealing with loss, and so it just encourages me, and and we were kind of saying, you know, there are good moments in the days, but then it's hard too. It's not like God removes your pain 24/7, which would be so great. And that's what is going to be when the Lord returns. And that's what Advent is about. It's about looking for his coming, his Emmanuel, God with us. You know, he was named Emmanuel. I don't know if it says it in the New Testament about him, y'all. I've just been, anyway. But it foresees it in the Old Testament, the name meaning God with us. So God coming to us in Christ as a baby, and we have been anticipating that. But his second coming is what we really, really long for now. That's the future part of what we're anticipating with Advent. And I haven't wanted and longed for the day of Christ. I've never longed for it like I have in this last year, and it's because this world hasn't been a great place for me. But, and so when you're grieving, when you're suffering, God doesn't take away that ache, the angst, the longing, all the time, but he does sometimes. He does, and he really does. And hearing Mom say it, and I thought, if she's doing it, I can do it. Where when you are just like, I can't shake this off, I can't get out of it, just wait and remember, a grace moment will come. God's grace will come. So I've meditated on God being the God of all comfort, because there were times in the last 2 weeks where my mind was doing it's often when I'm tired and I can't focus my mind on, more positive things and just activities and whatever. I'm too foggy, too tired. A lot of times that's when this negative rigmarole just grinds down on me. And I've had some times like that. And I started just like letting the God of all comfort roll over me. Just like thinking about it, like all comfort. And sometimes some of the negative stuff is just, I should be doing better. I shouldn't have these kinds of thoughts. I should be able to overcome this. Everybody doesn't go through this. It's me. I'm the problem. And then God is looking at me and coming to me in comfort. And it just becomes something I can do. Like I can keep going. I can take a deep breath and rest. And like, okay, I can do this next 5 minutes, or this next 30 minutes, or this next hour. That's all I have right now. That's where I'm living. So let's live in it and keep remembering the God of all comfort. So, and then often God will end up kind of like peeking in, and going, hi, Jamie, here I am. So that it's not all just faith. Although that's what I was describing just now, faith, making a decision to trust that God is a God of all comfort and that he is with me and that he will come and show me himself when I absolutely need it. Yeah, sometimes not. When you think you need it, it still seems kind of quiet and you go in faith. But sometimes he shows himself. And gosh, there were probably ways that happened when I was in Baton Rouge, but I haven't read through that in a bit. So what I do remember is one thing that was really sweet this week. Well, okay, two things. First of all, let me just say, was two different things. One, I was having one of those days and I had to go get my lab work done at Texas Oncology, and I went. Excuse me, let me get a tissue. Just a little drippy. Oh gosh. Okay, talk fast. And there's a friend that I have. She's become a friend. She works in the front there. And I told her what I was struggling with. And she said, "But that's not you, Jamie." And I was like, "It's not me? Really?" And we talk when I see her in person, and she also found my videos and has watched them. And so I knew that she knows a lot about me and the way that I hope, that what I'm sharing, it's not all of me, but it's a good part of me. And so I took her at her word. She was like, "That's not you," because I was over-identifying with that negative person, like I'm that thing in my head. And she just snapped me out of it. And it was like that was a grace. That was God showing up. And yeah, I left there different. And then another day, I think that might have been last week. And then this week, I went on a walk with a friend, which has been fantastic, something I've been doing around this pretty lake in town. And I talked some about Dad, but I couldn't talk too much. But as we were finishing the walk, we walked around the lake 3 times. It's not a big lake, and then we were leaving, and we were about to get from the grassy area to the parking lot. And I looked down and I saw a feather. And how is it that I don't have that feather with me right now? Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me get the one I have. Okay. So anyway, while I was in Baton Rouge, one of the most significant times I had was finding and going through Dad's prayer drawer in the room where he had his prayer times. And yes, I was blessed to have a father of faith and prayer. But his drawer had all kind of stuff in it, like similar to things I collect. So here's one I've collected in the past, a blue jay feather. Isn't that beautiful? And he has rocks and wood, and I have all that in my room here. And there was a feather on the ground, and it made me think of Dad. Obviously, it was like, bing! And I took it as God, and I have no idea, possibly Dad. Y'all, I'm on very shaky ground here. But I do believe that it is to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord, is a scripture. And I believe that Dad is with God, that Dad is in his bosom. And I just, think it's possible that they both were smiling when they gave me the feather. So I had such a wonderful time with my friend around the lake. Like, it was so edifying. And I just felt like God was saying, "I'm with you. You're going to be okay. Love is real. Joy and peace and hope are real. And here's a feather." So probably shouldn't take too much longer. Just another scripture that's cool on this grace idea is Deuteronomy 33:25. So one of the early scriptures. The Old Testament times. It says, As thy days, so shall thy strength be. And so God is saying, the strength you need will be there day to day. As there is a day, so shall thy strength be there. And it doesn't feel like it necessarily. But in faith, you can go, you're getting me through this day. I need you. I need, it's difficult for me to even let myself think back to the year I've had and the times where I needed God to just stop all this, just stop it all, help me get out of this, make this go by quicker, and I think about it and I think, He got me through. I had to endure, and He was there. I did not like it. I didn't like it at all. But there was so much grace in the midst of it too. And sometimes really happy times. Lots of, and what I mean by happy is kind of just balanced feeling and joyful and having hope and enjoying the people around me. And, and sometimes that was what I had to force myself to do was, like, look outside yourself, look. And if the only person in view was a nurse, I would look at them, look in their eyes, look at their arm and hand, that are sticking a needle in my belly or whatever. And many times it was Craig who was there to look at, and I would look at him more deeply. He'd be sitting there doing something, and I would just look at him instead of like just, and it would comfort me, and it would be a grace. So anyway, it's Christmas, and the most wonderful time of the year. How does it go? It's the most wonderful time of the year. I love that kind of feeling. And I think that is from God, that it's the most wonderful time of the year. That is part of heaven. Not necessarily Christmas and how we do it or whatever, but that kind of feeling of joy and freedom and love, being with people and love, it's meant for heaven. And God Himself, who is like this infinite kind of joy and love and goodness and holiness, like He wouldn't allow dark things to be there. That's what heaven's going to be. And so at Christmas, we can enjoy, you may not be able to enjoy Christmas right now. You may have lost someone very dear to you. But there are hopefully grace moments. Mom is finding so many grace moments. I'm so, so grateful. But the longing that we have is for that kind of celebration and feasting. And that is, the Bible talks so much about that. It makes me so relieved to see it there. Let me see. Was it in here today? Mama. Let me see. Okay, wait. Oh, well, there was something today that was in church. I'm looking at our little thing, and it was so wonderful. Oh, yeah. You did. Well, I mean, this is pretty fantastic, okay? Behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord. So this is like the future longing and looking and waiting. When I will fulfill the promise I made to the house of Israel and the house of Judah. In those days and at that time, I will cause a righteous branch to spring up for David. And that was Jesus. And he shall execute justice and righteousness in the land. In those days, Judah will be saved, and Jerusalem will dwell securely. And this is the name by which it will be called: the Lord is our righteousness. All of that has spread to the Gentiles, who I am, and all of those who put their faith in the Lord and are called his children. So anyway, that is not what I had in mind, but it's pretty fantastic. I think that's all I'm going to share, y'all. No, one more thing. Well, I'll give just an update. I think you all usually wonder about my physical stuff, but one thing is Craig's been able to go back to church. I think I told you that. And just the relationship and everything is just so wonderful. But he also got to preach. He got back in the pulpit, as they call it. And what he's done for, 20 years or whatever, and it made him feel so alive, and he enjoyed preparing with God, and I'm just so tickled. And he's going to preach again on Christmas Eve, and he feels like it's such a privilege. And so we have some very life-giving things going on. I have been driving everywhere. Don't get to go in many places, but like I drove to the lake. I drove to pick up some fast food one day, and I drive to pick up Walgreens prescriptions, and I've been walking lots every single day. I make sure I walk a mile and a half or more, and I've walked a few times with friends, and we don't have to wear masks because it's outside, and we talk, and it's so invigorating. And I can go in big stores early in the morning. And so I've done that a handful of times. And prepping for Christmas has been really, given me a really fun occupation because our kids are coming. So did I say that already? I think I did in the last video, right? This is the next huge grace from God. Our whole little immediate family, Craig and me and our 2 daughters, and one's husband and 3 children, they're all coming. And so whereas we had that time where we had to stand outside the house and social distance, and they just came in the driveway for 30 minutes and then left all the way from Colorado, remember that? Well, this time we're gonna get to snuggle. We're gonna snuggle. The doctor said my immune system would be good enough to snuggle, and they're going to quarantine for a bit before they come and stuff like that. And so anyway, why did I bring that up? I don't know, just all the good things that are happening. All of it is kind of like multiplying and helping me feel like I'm not just a pincushion, I'm not just a medical patient. I have a normal life. It's just so weird. I'm not in that old thing anymore. And I'm so grateful to the people when we were in Dallas who helped us there. And I'm so grateful for all of you praying for us and praying still, because we still need it. We're definitely still in a transition time. you know, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I'm definitely still transitioning physically and praying and hoping for more healing and restoration. Let me just say, quick aside. I also zoomed in on my church Bible study, my women's Bible study that I used to attend a year ago. I haven't been there in a year, and I zoomed in this week. And it was so amazing to hear all the women that I love and miss talk about, you know, what God's doing in their lives and what they need for prayer and stuff. It was just so great. So these are all just amazing things. So thank you for entering in to our lives and the physical realm and the spiritual realm to make change, to work with God and making change in our lives. So the last thing that I wanted to say is I have my labs were great for the last week to 10 days. Yeah. And so I just go there. I'm there for about 10 minutes and I leave. And I'm just like, this is so fantastic. Oh my gosh. I used to spend just hours upon hours every day there. Anyway, oh, this is so hard. Okay. And then Jamie, stop. You're not there anymore. God doesn't have you there anymore. I am praying about seeing a counselor to do some processing of this past year and someone who can help me think spiritually too. So that's something you could pray, that I would find the right person. But so physically, I feel kind of like a beat up, you know, I don't know. My dang back is making activity very difficult. But it's mostly when I try to get up and stuff, but if I'm up already, I can move around pretty well. And I praise God that I can. I can go get my exercise walks done, which gives my mind some help, you know, and I get my blood pumping and I feel more healthy and I can move around the house and do things, but it just hurts a lot of the time, my back. And I don't want to go to a doctor for it. I don't want to. I just want it to be healed by God. So I am eating and I am so grateful for the changes there. So grateful for your prayers. I need it to get even better. I could really use just the nausea passing completely, having better appetite, not being turned off by foods. But I'm holding my weight and maybe gained a couple of pounds, maybe a pound or two. I wish it was more, but I really would love to not have food be such a, still kind of in the scary category. Sometimes I still feel nausea come on me and whatever. So that's where that is. And then, you know, walking all my joints are so hard, and walking my knees. If I sit for 2 minutes, getting up and then walking, my knees are bad. So anyway, and when I go out walking for my exercise, my knees are like, but I do it anyway and I push through it and it's okay, but it would be, I'm praying that the scleroderma effects will go away. You know, my mom talked to me about my face and she said, you haven't changed that much. And I told her the things that I'm even like, it's too painful to say on camera. You know them because you see me, but the things that changed so much in a year. And she's like, Jamie, you are getting older, you know. And I am, y'all. I'm not gonna say my age, am I? Yeah. Ugh. Usually I don't mind saying it, but I've had such a hard time. Next month I'm turning 60. It's a decade thing. And it's like, and I'm in this kind of shape. This isn't the greatest thing. But she said, what about humility. And she said it so gently. And I think that it truly is a virtue. Like pride is what causes this kind of vanity. Anyway, I gotta let y'all go. It's been better for me since Mom talked to me. And I've had a couple of other people say, you know, you're just beautiful. Just be who you are. Let it be. And that Mom said, you're beautiful. Did I say that part? And so I want to accept the changes that have happened to me and are going to continue, mano, and to let it go, like to let aging be a thing that is okay. Well, there's that. And let's see, didn't want to end on that, but I gotta go. Okay, y'all. I hope that your Christmas is full of grace moments. There will be hard times. And, you know, whether it's with relationships or your health or other things, work. We live in this fallen world, but we're waiting and longing, and that is together. And that is, as a community, we have faith that we're waiting and longing for something that is coming. And it is our beautiful lover of our souls who will make all things right and who will make all things new. And right now we live in an enduring moment, but where many things are new, the now and the not yet. So live in the now as much as you can and pray about the not yet and rest in his love. I love you guys. I love you all. May he strengthen us together. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if I don't talk to you before that. Bye.